talking about the executive LinkedIn insights and strategies, the software and tactics that you need to get business through LinkedIn. And the term that Rich shared just a minute ago, direct social response, is a term that we've been using for the past about 6 months to describe the marriage between the direct response industry and the social media industry like it's never been seen before. And so the reason I'm so excited to be able to share this with you, and I don't do this very often where I share our secret software tools that we use to really kind of kick butt in the platform and make a lot of things happen. But today I'm going to highlight that because Rich asked if he could share some of his software with our marketplace, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to give back to you guys and give you some amazing access to things that I know and some of my fellow strategists in LinkedIn know, but most people don't. So without further ado, let's get into this program, and let me share with you. I want to just make sure that you all can see the right screen here. Rich, can you just confirm that we're looking at my PowerPoint deck? I'm going to put my screen share mode on.
Yeah, Nathan, I can see a PowerPoint deck with the.
Okay.
And now it's on. Now it's on full screen, Nathan.
Okay. Hey, every show that I have, every webinar I'm in, I have some technical glitch where I just kind of mess up the screen, or I don't have my audio on, or whatever it might be. So just so you know, it's real. This is a real live presentation. We're not pre-recorded. Okay. All right. Pay attention to the details. Okay. So what we're about to discover is how to structure your business for predictable results through LinkedIn to get predictable ROI. Let me see if I can get this screen to switch over for us. Okay. We're going to talk about how to identify your highest and best use of LinkedIn. We're going to talk about some cutting-edge tools and software that's available for you in the B2B marketing space, and then what we use for database building, for tracking and engagement, and then for some automation. And then we're going to talk about your own strategic LinkedIn plan. So if you guys stay on with us, we have a special offer that eGrabber is going to provide to everybody, for anybody that wants to check out that software. I'll be sharing that after our third bullet point here, and then we'll wrap it up with building out and walking you through your own strategic plan, the step-by-step methods that you need to take, the things you need to be aware of, what you need to do next in order to get where you need to go within the LinkedIn platform. Okay, so to start, I think it's important that you guys know a little bit about who I am. So I really believe that we shouldn't follow false prophets, and we should walk our own walk. There's a lot of experts in the marketplace on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of people that talk, but there's not a lot of people that walk the walk. And so I just want to show you what it is that we've done. We've helped our clients generate over $100 million of revenue through LinkedIn in the past 2 years alone, working with small to mid-sized companies. This number will probably double or triple in the next several months as we're starting to work with bigger companies like Office Depot and Chicken Soup for the Soul and many others whose average deal size is between $1 to $5 million. So most of our clients are selling something between $10,000 and $50,000 services or some sort of solution, and that's the people that we're typically working with. I'm an author and international speaker. We also are the owner of the largest LinkedIn strategies group called LinkedIn Strategies, the same as our name. If you look it up on LinkedIn, it's a great group to be a member of. There's over 44,000 members now, and we'll keep on growing. It's just a great place to get insights and strategies and tactics on what you can use within LinkedIn. I've personally taught over 50,000 people how to master LinkedIn via webinars just like this and in live person. Mostly, of course, on the webinar side, because there'd be a lot of people otherwise. And we've had the opportunity to serve over 287 clients to date in our business-to-business side and serve thousands of executives in our profile optimization side of our business. So I'm sharing this only so that you understand that what I'm sharing with you is the most cutting-edge, active information that's working and is relevant right now today. Because what is working right now today actually wasn't working 6 months ago, or it had to be modified because what was working 6 months ago doesn't work today. So it's really important you guys stay up to date, stay in touch with us, and come on to these webinars as we come up with these learning series, because the information that's being shared is always fresh, it's always new. Okay? So let's get into the next slide here. So what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a 300 million person database. It's the #1 professional network in the world. It is your personal profile to the world. It helps you individually build and establish expertise as well as your company to some degree. It's an amazing source of direct access to talent, prospects, and strategic relationships. And what I mean by strategic relationships is access to prospects, people that can do business with you, but also like investors or media relationships or strategic partnerships that are like access point people that represent tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. I'll give you an example. I built a relationship on LinkedIn that one individual is a direct access point to me to 750,000 of my exact target markets. That's one relationship, and I use LinkedIn to build that. It's an amazing platform. Okay, so the real power of LinkedIn is really all about helping you position and brand yourself. It helps you brand your company via the people in your company. It helps you build targeted networks, helps you access the top talent. It's going to help you build and understand those partnerships and alliances that I just mentioned. It's going to help you engage and interact with new prospects and clients continuously in an ongoing basis if you do it right. It will help you. This unique little thing is test untapped markets that you probably didn't know exist to you. And you can kind of do it with a low investment to find out if this market's going to be viable or not without a whole lot of guesswork on who it is that you're marketing to. And then you can use it to also create predictable pipelines, my favorite use of LinkedIn. So we're going to get into some statistics here in just a minute and some case studies, and I'm going to get into the content of this webinar. But I want you to understand that the marketplace of LinkedIn is something that we all should know. Right now it's 300 million people. This graphic that I'm showing you right here is actually from LinkedIn Marketing's website. Okay, they have their marketing solutions department, and in it, this is the breakdown of the membership of LinkedIn today. And we're looking at 100 million people in the United States. We're looking at Brazil growing at exponential rates at 17 million. Australia, probably the most engaged and interactive markets at only 5 million, but they're super interactive, so it's great. India has always been big and is going to continue to grow, and so forth. And Europe at 65 million is an interesting group of people. Anybody here from Europe? You guys are anomalies if you're on this webinar, because most people we've seen and interacted with through Europe are very lowly engaged for whatever reason. So, but we have some methods and approaches that worked nonetheless in Europe. So a little bit more about their breakdown. You'll see this is a little bit older data, so these numbers have probably grown, but at the time of this last year, this graphic, we had small and medium-sized businesses over 6.5 million, 6.4 million. We have startup professionals, over 5.8 million of those guys. Corporate executives, over 2.8 million. Business decision makers, like that's just a good title, 15 million, and so forth. And you can kind of see the numbers there as it breaks down. So why does all this matter to you? Because LinkedIn's a channel that it can help you increase revenues, it can lower marketing costs, it can improve cash flow, it can help you connect with those decision makers through the gatekeepers, so you just skip the gatekeepers altogether. And the bottom line is right here. LinkedIn's a practical business tool that if you guys can master it, it will lead, not can, it will lead to exponential results for your business in literally no time at all. So I want to talk about a couple of case studies now, and I want to tell you these so that you understand the use case of LinkedIn and how you can interact with the platform in different ways that you may not have thought about. So I'm going to talk about an internet marketing company, an events company, a management consulting firm, and a B2B Fortune 100 company that we've worked with. Okay, so in the first case that I'm going to talk about here is the internet marketing company. Now, this internet marketing company had 7,262 targeted messages that they wanted to reach out to a marketplace with. With the approaches that we'll share with you here in a little bit, they were able to get 316 responses. This is a 4.35% engagement rate. Now, when I say this number, you have to understand what that means. That leads to, in this case, over 100 pre-qualified appointments. Now, a response is somebody that's responding to a message directly saying, hey, I'd be interested in learning more about your services or not. And this is what we like using LinkedIn for. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can use engagement strategies. In this particular company, I'll set the tone for them a little bit. Their direct objective was to get purposeful, focused leads. We call that direct social response, right? So it wasn't about building a long-term relationship. This was about getting people on the phone to learn about their services in the shortest amount of time. And these are the stats that you're looking at right here. So over 100 pre-qualified appointments. Now, if you break down the numbers, that was the requests for appointments was at 1.16%, which isn't excellent, but it's not bad considering their average deal size was $11,000. There was a pipeline increase of 1.1 million at a cost of $16,535, all in only 30 days. Now, in the following 30 days, we doubled that number at no additional cost. So you can see how the cost, the ROI was just out of this world. So another case study I'm going to share with you here is a experiential events company. Now this company was targeting 100 companies. They said, okay, I want to go after my top whales. These are the guys that are, every one of them is worth more than $1 million to my organization. So what we did is we found out of those targeted companies, there's 376 targeted executives at those organizations that fit the criteria of the people they wanted to talk with. Right, so it's just under 4 per company. And so what we did is we engaged all of them. We had a 5.58% response rate. We had 13 pre-qualified appointments, and we had 3.45 requests. Percent was the requested appointment rate. And we had a cost of 16.8 in their case, and a timeline of 60 days. Now, that doesn't seem like amazing, but when you figure that those are 13 appointments, each deal was worth $1 million for them, and they're all whales, this was awesome for them. And this all happened in such a short period of time. It's something that they had not thought they could do before. Now, this doesn't stop here. Behind the scenes, they do a follow-up campaign to every single one of those individuals for the next 12 months to create that engagement rate up in the 10, 20, 30% range. So this is just the initial results that you see here. All right, so that's another concept, another way to engage LinkedIn. Now, let's talk about the next one, the management consulting firm. So the management consulting firm is a little bit different structure here. I want to just put it all out so you can see it right away. So the goal they had for this consulting firm is to build long-term thought leadership. That's kind of, think of it as brand awareness. They wanted to land new clients, and they wanted to create a best-selling book. This individual did. So the solution was to build a LinkedIn community exclusively with vice presidents of Fortune 200 companies for 2 reasons. One, the thought leadership would be in play with his exact target market, but then that Fortune 200 companies, these VPs, they could all hire him, every single one of them, because his target market was any Fortune 200 company that had a complex consumer-facing program in this particular case. So what he was doing was building his thought leadership, his long-term top-of-mind awareness, if you would, and this is what happened. The results. There's 200,000 total VPs of Fortune 200 companies that we could find. In our particular initiative, in this initiative, we were able to access 50,000 of them. When I say access, that was our ability to communicate. And with that, we were able to get 12,000 of those individuals to double qualify into the group, meaning they had to apply to get in, and then they were verified before they were let in, that they were the right people. So 12,000 vice presidents of Fortune 200 companies, over $1 trillion of buying power in this group already. And what resulted from it was he got a best-selling book. He gets literally, he's the hardest guy to reach in the world now because he has endless business coming at him all the time because of his positioning. And he has built a tremendous amount of rapport and long-term relationships with his exact target market. So another way to use LinkedIn, a different way to think about it that you may not have thought of. All right, so let's take on the next one. Now the next one's for those big guys. If any of you are on here that are representing big organizations, this should resonate with you a little bit. So we had a multi-billion-dollar office supply company. The goal was they had 75 global sales reps that needed to identify, access, and engage and grow their managed accounts. Okay, so the results. The average rep added 2,000 plus high-value targets to their total target list. Now, before we worked with these guys, they were complaining about not having enough people to talk to. So we built out the database, and this is something we're going to talk about with you in just a minute with the tools that we use. Okay, we estimated a personal engagement rate because they just finished this. So here's our estimates on what's about to happen for them. Their estimates, because we've done so many of these, we know what's going to happen. Of those 2,000, their engagement rate with those 2,000 high-value targets are going to be between 30 to 50%, leaning towards the 50 because of their company brand that's behind them. Okay, so but I'm going to give you the numbers based on 30%. So if we estimate a pipeline opportunity to increase per rep is $600 million. Now, their average deal size is between 1 and 5 million, so we're erring on the low end, and that's an annual. They have an annual requirement of 50 to maintain a 50 to 100 million dollars of accounts. Right, so this gives them access to an ongoing pipeline of $600 million they can use to add to their annual requirement or surpass it. So just a really neat way to look at LinkedIn in a totally different perspective. So now what I want to talk about with you here is, hold on a second, let me check something. Okay, so I'm going to get into lesson 1 right now. So I had a error slide in there. So lesson 1 is, so if you guys have questions, Rich, hopefully you're taking questions. I shared all that information so you understand what's possible in LinkedIn. I know I talk with a lot of executives. I know many of you on this call are executives or running your own companies, or you're part of a bigger organization. The reason I share those case studies is so you understand the possibilities that exist to you out there through LinkedIn. Now, I want to talk to you about the application of that. So lesson 1 is, how do you structure your business so that you can get predictable ROI through LinkedIn? So the first thing that we have to do is we have to improve our image. Every single individual at your organization needs to have their profile optimized, and there's a big reason why. The reason for this is that every individual on your company is representing your brand, and if this is for you, you're representing your own brand. And the profile is the centerpiece for that. We have found that when we run campaigns, we do not do a profile optimization, where we do not, and a profile optimization, so you know what that means, it's where we go through it with you, we rework the copy, we redo your picture, we make sure everything's positioned the right way, we make sure the words align with your target market's psychology, the way they think, and then we optimize it for that. So we do a specific thing in your professional headline, I'll show you that in just a second, and we do some special things in your summary page where we write it with a particular structure and a certain psychology behind it, called the 5 psychological triggers, and then that's the process that happens to get your profile optimized. Now, we have free training, we have paid training, we have done-for-you services that we can do that with you for if that's something you're interested in, but the bottom line is you have to get your profile optimized. And here's the reason why. It's because your profile is going to have about 8 to 10 seconds of intrigue or non-intrigue with somebody that's vetting you out. So whether you're using the profile to just keep your credibility high, to improve your conversion rates, to just make sure that you look like you're cutting edge and you're with the times, all of those are reasons you'd have your profile optimized. I have a couple of fun stories about this. I had a client, Jeff Hazlett, a good friend of mine, who's was a previous CMO of a Fortune 100 company, right? He's a consultant now, and he was going to hire this marketer for a project that he had. He was going to give him $100,000. He decided who he was. He had already made the decision. He was just trying to contact the guy. And his favorite method of communication was LinkedIn. So he pulled the guy up on LinkedIn. The guy on LinkedIn's profile is terrible, number 1. He's a marketer, right? It's not a good combination. And then number 2, he was so uppity, meaning the guy was so big on himself that he had turned off all of his in-mail communications and all of the abilities to communicate with him on LinkedIn. And Jeff just threw his hands up. He's like, screw this guy. I'm out of here. He walked away. Now, that guy never knew he lost a $100,000 deal. Jeff had committed to it. You told me this story. It was a great story. There's a great reason. Now, I know it's a little over the top, but some of you may be managing $1 million accounts. You could lose a $1 million account and never know it because your profile is not intriguing or credible enough. Right now, this is a stretched case. I'm giving you an exaggerated example because it's a real one, right? But nonetheless, I don't want anybody to lose a deal that they don't know they lost because of their profile, which is something so simple and straightforward to fix. Now, the second part of that is it helps you improve your conversion. So if you are engaging people, you want people to look at your profile and like, wow, that guy's really interesting. That person's curious. I'm intrigued. Wow, I didn't know that about Bob, or your best friend or your neighbors might check you out on LinkedIn and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that Nate did that. That's awesome. You know, you can never be a prophet in your own world, in your own neighborhood, because they know you since a kid, right? Well, until they see your LinkedIn profile and what you've done. And that's something that I've seen happen time and time again. I'm now getting speaking engagements here where I live in Cleveland because of my LinkedIn profile, not because people know me. I know a lot of people. I do a lot of networking events, and I'm engaged in the community a lot. But I don't get business out of that. I get business when people check my LinkedIn profile because they see what I've done. It's pretty interesting. So here's a couple things about the profile for you to take away. The profile, here's kind of the structure of it. So you have your profile picture on the upper left side of your page. You want to be looking, just so you know, on your profile picture, you want to be looking in to the left with a nice smile or an approachable face so that you're inviting people to look more into your profile. Your professional headline, I'm going to give you some examples in just a second, is right to the right of that. Let's think of that professional headline as the most important thing on your profile. I can't understate that enough. I can't overstate that enough. It's your 8-second elevator pitch. It goes with you everywhere you go on LinkedIn, everywhere. All right. You have your summary, We have your website names and links. We have your public profile name, your current title, your media integration, your connections, any recommendations that you might want to add to your profile. And I do recommend you have at least 10, and that will help with your SEO and getting found more effectively as well on LinkedIn. Okay, so here's a couple examples. So your profile, your professional headline, has 3 basic structures. Your first structure is value, proposition, or solution. I like these vertical lines. It makes it look nice. Another value, proposition, or solution. Some examples are down here. Trust, credibility, and then your title, if you want. You can switch that around. The one we're doing most right now is the title. Then we do credibility, value, proposition, solution, and trust. We mix this up, and these can be interchangeable. It doesn't really matter which order they go in. And then we have our alternative method for like some of those industries that are a little bit more old school, like the Department of Defense, for example. We had a client in that space. You'll see here on the marketing director at X company, the DoD Business Solutions. We had a more originally built out one of the other ones, and it was a little bit too much and too over the top for a lot of those executives. So make sure you understand this process. This process can take upwards of 2 hours to develop. Brainstorm it, put some 2 or 3 word phrases down on what it is you do generically, what it is you do uniquely, and then what makes you trustworthy and credible. And then you'll see some examples that we have down here. Okay, so let's go on. Now, Rich, if there's questions, just let's grab those, okay? The next thing you want to make sure you do in your structure to maintain ROI is getting found. And this is a process we call networking on purpose. We actually call it Network Accelerator. And this is an approach that you can take. It's how you think about interacting with the platform of LinkedIn. And this is a connection strategy. This is an engagement strategy, and is a purposeful strategy that you've put in place that will get you results because you're building good relationships. All right, now, a lot of people want to use keyword optimization. We have the most sought-after blog post on Google for keyword optimization on LinkedIn. That approach still works, but it also destroys your profile in the process. So we don't teach it anymore. What I really believe in is having a good optimized profile and then networking on purpose. That combination will help you get found better than any keyword or SEO strategy within the LinkedIn platform ever could. So as Edward Deming says, if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. I love that guy. He's awesome. So getting found and networking on purpose is really about the process of connecting and engaging with people. So what we would recommend that you do here to get a positive ROI strategy is to make sure you know who you're going after using the advanced search on LinkedIn and getting really good at that. Finding and building a list of your targeted individuals. Now, this isn't using like the general and generic keyword box. This is getting into the nuances of advanced search that will allow you to find people. Or you use the eGrabber tool and you build a list of them and you build out their LinkedIn profiles and start from that, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And then you start networking with those guys by connecting with them on LinkedIn and engaging and in intriguing and curious ways. Okay, and then the final thing is we need to be able to generate awareness. You know, something amazing happens when you don't promote, as P.T. Barnum says. That's nothing, right? So I just think it's the funniest quote, so I put it up there. But we have to be able to promote ourselves, and we can promote in a very appropriate way. We can promote by just making ourselves be aware to individuals and being top of mind. In the executive space, that's what we do. We don't sell ourselves. We are sharing ourselves. We're asking if there's an opportunity for us to work together. We're interacting in a way that is respectful of one another's time and efforts and resources. And we aren't just trying to interrupt market like most advertising is built out to do. So we're really, literally, it's an interactive networking strategy. And that's what we're going to get into in our next piece. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So generating awareness, promotion tactics, I'm going to give you one really great nugget right here, okay? So if you go into, and I'm going to actually show you right now inside of LinkedIn, this little pointer, okay? So inside of LinkedIn, my favorite promotion strategy is to join all the groups that I believe my target market is in. I come into the home page of LinkedIn, and then, Rich, can you guys see this page? I'm sorry, Clinton, can you guys see this page?
Yes, Nate, we can.
Okay, great. And then there should be a questions box that people can type into. Is that available to everybody?
Yes, we have a few questions, but some of them are related to the slides, when they're going to get the slides. So we will be sending out the video recording tomorrow, so you can wait up for that. There was another question on media integration. Okay, the question goes
Okay.
like this, Nate. One of the elements discussed earlier was to be sure to engage your media integration unit. I'm not familiar with what aspect of this is in LinkedIn. Okay, so I think
Okay.
there's the media integration part. Yeah, I think where you put your video, right? You did a video on link strategies. I think she's referring to that.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So what I'm talking about in the media integration is where do you integrate media pieces, so like videos or slide decks or recordings of any sort, right? So if you go into your profile, you hit in the Edit tab, you come into this section of your profile, you'll see this little drop-down box. This will say Add or Upload a File. So you can add a link to YouTube or Vimeo or a couple other resources for video, or you can just upload the heart file right here. What will happen is that'll show up right down here below the summary. You can also do that underneath each of your current companies or past companies if you want to add any video in there. That's all we're talking about. So like my favorite profiles that I have ever done for a client has 5 of these. I don't have 5 videos. I have 2 pretty darn good ones. So you either do 2 or you do 5, but you don't do anything in between or less. If you only have 1, then do 1. That's okay too. And that's what we were talking about regarding media integration. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. And so I'm going to show you this promotion tactic, and then I'm going to jump into the next piece so we stay on track. So the promotion piece is, now guys, what I'm about to share with you, I used to generate 20,000 unique clicks to my website in a single month. Okay, now this is a little while before LinkedIn got so overwhelmed with promotions. So right now, this same strategy will generate you anywhere from a few hundred to several thousand really great high-quality clicks to your website on a monthly basis if you do this once or twice a week. Okay, what I'm about to show you. All right, so let me show you this. Now, you can do this from your blog if you choose to do it. I did it inside of LinkedIn. Now, to get traffic to your website, you need to do it from your blog, but you can do the same thing from your blog that I'm about to show you. So LinkedIn added a feature called Publisher Platform available to all of us. They kind of expanded the reach of what influencers had access to everybody. Now, if you click on this little pencil-looking thing in your update box on your homepage, it'll take you to this blog page-looking site here. You'll see this. So I can type in a blog. I could type something here. I can make my title. I can literally add in any media if I want to do that. If I paste a link to like YouTube in here, I put my embed code, it will automatically pull it in. And then what happens is you'll get something that looks just like this. This was a little bit older post that I just did. And you'll check this out. So this was not a good content piece, just so we're all clear. This was me trying to get some appointments, and I wanted to see if this would work, and I was testing this out for a webinar. So this is called How Link Strategies Can Help Your Company Grow Exponentially. And then what I did is I just threw up what I typically use for a marketing message, plus I added in my videos, and then at the bottom I said, if you'd like to discuss working together, email me. That's it, Inquiry at Link Strategies. And I had these two of our best videos we've ever done. And I said, literally in a couple days, I had like 200 views. It's grown since then. And I got 4 appointments from it. I had 32 shares on LinkedIn. This is a promotion for my company. And I love it that people are sharing it because it's really good. It's actually a really good piece, and it gets to the point of getting business. And so you can do something, I would do better content than this, something that's more engaging and interactive and attractive to a market. But this is what you would do. So what you then do, once you have it completed, whether this is in your blog or it's inside of LinkedIn's publishing platform here, you hit the share button. Now the share button will give us some interesting little options. Anybody that hasn't done this might be new for you. You can have your admins do this, or you can do it yourself. You can do share and update. This will go to all your connections. I can turn that off, and then I can just do post to groups. If I do post to groups, I can just start going through the alphabet, and I can start selecting the groups that I'm in, and I'm just going through the alphabet and just picking them one at a time that are relevant for this particular topic, right? And then I might go through a few. You do about 25, and you got to do another round. So you do 2 groups of 25. You got 50 groups, so you can have max plus a few subgroups. You can post them in there all in one fell swoop. and boom, I hit share, done. Now, I'm going to tell you at the very end of this webinar, I'm going to give you guys a gift for those that stay on with me. I'm going to tell you what time to do this. Now, this by itself will share it with the groups. It'll disseminate it out to give you indirect exposure. That's what I call it, is indirect exposure to all the members of all your groups that you share it with. In my case, if I do that, I have about 1.8 million members in the groups that I'm a member of. And that means I get indirect exposure once or twice a week to 1.8 million people through LinkedIn. In the media world, they call that an impression. It's about the same thing. And that's a super powerful tool. Now, if you do it at the right time of day, that'll increase your engagement and interactive experience with that share. And that's what, if you, Rich, make sure you remind me at the very end, I'm going to give you guys this one time a day, every single day, that LinkedIn does what's called a daily digest sweep of all the groups. And when it does that sweep, it's sending out a message to all of the members in that group. And I'll share that time with you guys at the very end, okay? For those that stay on with us.
Nate, there's a relevant question right here from Joe. He asks, on your profile, there is a phrase which says digital marketing strategist, LinkedIn trainer, and consultant, blah, blah, blah. It's copy-pasted many times. So what value does it add?
What does he mean? It's copy-pasted?
Yeah, because if you go to your profile, I think you've added that that title with each one of your clients who you have consulted with.
Oh, you're talking about the key. Those are keywords. So there's a keyword optimization training that I do, and this was a result of that training. I was showing people what would happen if you did that, and it will help you rank higher for those words. So if you look up the words like direct social response on LinkedIn, I should come up number 1 or 2, if not number 1. If you look up words like direct social response, or you look up digital media strategist, or any of those things, those are the words. If you see me putting them in there many times, those would be some keywords that I'd be going for. I don't put any effort into that, so I don't know if I'm ranking right now or not, but when I do put effort into it, I can rank number 1 in about 30, 40 minutes on LinkedIn for any topic. In order for me to rank right now for like CEO or marketing, which I did for about 3 years, I was the number 1 person for those terms. I got to destroy my profile even worse than it is right now. So you see all those different clients, and I just put the same title in because that's what I do for my clients. That's why I put that in there, and I'm able to do that. If you guys are consultants and you have a lot of clients, do that. You know, put in various titles if you want. For me, we just put the same one in because that's what we do. I do 10 or 20 of those a month, and we'll add them in every quarter or so.
Nate, how about mixing them up for each phrase that you want to be found? Would that help?
I mean, it's not gonna. The keyword logic of LinkedIn doesn't care. It might make it look better. So that would be the only reason you'd change it up. So if you're trying to land a word, you don't want to keep changing the variations of that word, because LinkedIn's not, the platform's not super intelligent. It's literally, guys, it's so basic. If you guys go in, I'll give you the quick and dirty on this, okay? If you type in a keyword, let's say you want to be, I don't know, let's do LinkedIn software, or you wanted to do like marketing. Right, let's do one that's a little bit more unique, because if it's regional, it's easier to do. So let's say I want to be digital media in Cleveland. Right, so I type in the keyword box at the very top of the page of LinkedIn, digital media. Let me go do it. Right up here. So this is a keyword. This box here applies to anything on somebody's profile. This is a bonus, by the way, everybody. So I hope you like this. Okay, so digital media Cleveland. All right, so I'm going to hit search, and I'm going to do a people search. I'm going to change this once it pulls up. Digital media Cleveland. So these are the people that are coming up as the top people with digital media, the phrase, inside of with Cleveland included, right here. Okay. Now the way LinkedIn is built out, this isn't a keyword-focused phrase. This is a relationships-focused phrase, because that's why Jennifer shows up first as a first-degree connection, right? So I used to be able to change this search and filter by relevancy of keyword. And now what this is pulling up is relevancy of relationship, which really doesn't do me any good. Although the more relationships I have, then the more likely is I'm going to show up at number one in most of these places. So if I wanted to rank number one for this, what I do is I'm going to come down and just look for somebody that has it a few times, like Tom. Okay, so if I click on his profile now, it's literally going to highlight everywhere on his profile that digital media shows up. And that's where all the keywords apply. So you can just go mirror that in somebody's profile. See how it just goes down through the profile? And as long as you have more than him, you'll likely show up. Now, different areas rank higher. So like if they have, that's why these recommendations are really valuable for him, because if they say the keyword, then they're going to give a bigger rating to recommendations and to the title sections than they would for something like that you would say about yourself in your headline or current title or in summary, right? So that's all. It's pretty straightforward. I don't recommend spending a ton of time on it because you're not going to get a ton of business out of that. I like the networking strategy better. So hopefully that's helpful to you guys, just in my experience, because I don't think it's worth the trade-off of destroying your profile to get ranked inside of LinkedIn, because most people don't use LinkedIn as your primary method for searching somebody like that. And if they do, they really know how to do it right, and they're going to break it down so that they find you anyway. Okay, so let's get into the lesson 2, because we got a lot to cover now in about 20 minutes. So lesson 2 is how to identify your highest and best use of LinkedIn. This is your strategy and approach. Now this is where most people just mess up on LinkedIn. And what I really want you to take away with this is you need to understand how to think, plan, and manage within the LinkedIn platform. You need to understand what your goals and objectives are. You need to understand that your goals and objectives have to do, like, are you here for leads? Are you here for brand awareness? Are you here for relationship and networking or content sharing? What's your primary, secondary, and tertiary reasons for being on LinkedIn? Okay? Because having a LinkedIn open networker mindset may get you there, or it may not. That's called Lion, if anyone's ever seen that. Right? That's where you just connect and engage with anybody because it gives you more opportunity to message other people in open ways. That's not necessarily going to get you the results you want unless you're open, unless like maybe you're a network marketer and you want to just network with everybody and anybody that has a pulse you'll talk to. You know, I have a network marketing practice. I'm not insulting that industry. I'm just saying that there's better approaches. Right? So what are your goals? Do you want fast conversations and to fill your pipeline? Is that your primary reason for being here? Okay, if it is, then you have a whole lot of things like the content sharing promotion I just shared with you. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. You know, if you're here for brand awareness, then do the publicity sharing thing that I just showed you. Right? If you're here for relationships and networking, then you make sure your profile is optimized and do a network accelerator program with us, or get one of our info products, or learn how to network most effectively on LinkedIn. Okay, there's the things that you have to identify. So all that lesson 2 is really about is you identifying which one of these you are here for, 1, 2, and 3. What are you really focused on? Okay, and that's going to determine what you do next. That's going to determine if you're focused on a editorial calendar and content strategy in LinkedIn or not, or if you're focused on a networking strategy, or if you're focused on a direct social response campaign. And that's going to tell you which direction to go. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is lesson 3. And so we're going to get Rich, we're going to get Clinton back involved, and I'm going to talk about my cutting-edge tool. So what we believe is that any campaign, any direct social response campaign, requires 3 things. It requires the database, pardon me, of the right people. So you need to have the right data. Okay, we need to know who they are. We need to know the people by company, by individual, by title, everything we can know. Once we have the database, we need to have an engagement strategy. LinkedIn primarily, and then email secondarily. And we need a follow-up campaign. We use a tool called ToutApp for follow-up. It's excellent, especially in the sales side if you're doing high-end sales. I'm not going to get into ToutApp, and I'm not going to dive too much into the engagement strategy right here today. I'm here to share with you about the database acquisition part. I want you to learn about eGrabber, and I'm going to hand it over to Rich right now. And I keep calling you Rich, Clinton. I'm sorry, because I always talk with Rich. But I'm going to hand you over to Clinton right now to show you a little bit about eGrabber and how it is that I use it to build my database for ourselves and for our clients as we use it to find relevant individuals so that we can then start our engagement strategies through LinkedIn and then follow up with them using ToutApp. Okay, so why don't you take controls back there, Clinton, and share with everybody for 10 minutes here. Then I have my fourth session, I still got to stay on with us, guys, because Clinton's going to offer us, give you all an offer at the end of this session, and I have a fourth session, which is your takeaway, your daily strategy that you're going to get, and I'm going to give you that time of day for promotion after he's been finished with this and he shares his offer. Okay.
Thank you,
So
Nate.
go ahead.
Thank you very much. So when you're on LinkedIn, when you're prospecting on LinkedIn, and database collection is your primary focus, well, typically you're either on a LinkedIn search or you're on a LinkedIn profile, and you're missing an email, you're missing a phone number because LinkedIn doesn't give you that. That's their bread and butter. So why should they give it to you right there? The problem with this is you can try connecting with Chris. In this case, Chris is actually one of my second degree connections. But my problem if I use LinkedIn Connect is I just get one chance at an email or a connect request. And if Chris hasn't responded to my email or hasn't responded to my connect request, I have to wait in line. I have to wait till he does something or doesn't do something. So my one chance might just disappear. I might have the perfect profile, that's great, but if he doesn't respond to me, what can I do? If I have his email, however, or his phone number, now that I can take the conversation offline, I can take the conversation out of LinkedIn, maybe send him some relevant stuff, which he may read, and then he can get back to me at a most appropriate time. So that is one of the problems when you're working straight on LinkedIn. If he doesn't respond, you're always wondering, will he press the I don't know button? And if you've been on LinkedIn long enough and you've prospected a lot, you'd be scared, just like me, of the I don't know button. Because if too many people too many people press that button, then LinkedIn flags you as someone who's undesirable, and then you have to go to LinkedIn and get your account back. So it's a lot of procedure over there. So here it is where most people get stuck. Most salespeople get stuck. They need an email and a phone number to carry on the conversation. So we've been in the contacts business for about 16 years doing various stuff. So what eGrabber did, is we created a little button we call the account researcher. So it's a little software which sits on your system, and as soon as you press that little account researcher button, what the software does is it gives you a business card with an email and a phone number. Very simple. And this is Chris, who's my second degree connection. That's his email address. That's his phone number. I did this just before the webinar. And here's another example. Here's Philip. And you open this in your browser. You'll open Philip's profile in a browser, click another account researcher button, and hey, there's Philip's contact information. You can actually call him up, send him an email. Very useful. And here's another one, Kevin. And the nice thing about account researcher is it goes and it discovers not only your prospects' contact information, but it gives you a few options at the bottom as well and says, hey, here are some other people I can find who work at this company. Not too many of them, gives you a handful, but these are some actual email addresses which are live at that company, which you could use to prospect. So if you're a fan of the sphere of influence selling or what have you, you could go across and you can break into that account. Now, a lot of people ask me, where do you get this contact information from? Do you have a database? Are you selling me a database? No, we are a tools company. We don't sell databases, but why sell a database when it can get old and when the bulk of the latest information is on the internet, accessible through Google, search engines, what have you. So you'll be amazed at how much contact information, email addresses, phone number is there on the internet. People put up slide shares and say, hey, you want to get in touch with me about the slide share, email me at so and so. So there's a lot of documents out there where you can find information. And the experts, the internet research experts, know how to do this. So, well, we spoke to them, we learned what they knew, and we put it into the software. And don't get me wrong, they're not out of business, they're using our software because we just do it faster. In case, and this is the nice thing about the software, and you saw this in Kevin's profile, so in case it can't find a contact information for you, for a particular target market, because, well, face it, not everybody's contact information is on the internet. What it does is it looks at the colleagues, and it says, you know what, looks like at this company, first name dot last name seems to be the dominant email address. So try this email address, you might get across to this person. Okay? So how accurate is this email address that we get it? Well, if it's on the internet, there's a 95% chance we're going to find it. We know that we're that good, and we've proven it. Okay, and just to prove a point, we went and got a patent on it, so you know that the whole process works. Okay. And by the way, some people ask me, does it transfer to my Salesforce.com? Yes, it does. You press another button, go straight into your Salesforce.com. You can take it from there, nurture it, do as you like.
All right,
Okay.
cool. All right.
Okay, so that's my side of the picture. And Nate, I'm going to hand over control back to you.
Okay. So guys, listen, I appreciate, thank you for sharing that. Now, I want to highlight a couple things that he shared with us. So what we use eGrabber for is data acquisition and verification, because when you have an email address, there's a lot more you can do inside of LinkedIn than when you don't have it. There's things you can do to accelerate your results. There's things that you can do to engage. You can connect with more people that way more effectively. There's a lot of aspects to having a good quality database that help. One of the other things that we use it for, and Clinton, you probably don't know this, is, let me show my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. I think, am I on screen, the right screen? Yes, I am. Can you guys see my
your screen?
Same slide? Okay. So the other thing we use it for is company validation. See, inside of LinkedIn, when you use companies, you can't. LinkedIn keeps taking away value for having there's no reason for me to have a company page on LinkedIn right now, unless I want my employees to be stolen from me. That's like really the only reason to have a company page. I mean, I might, if I'm hiring and I believe that that's the best way for me to get applications, and I might fall under that pursuit, which I don't think it is. So there's less and less reason to have a company page on LinkedIn, which gives us less relevant data when it comes to finding the right companies that we need to talk with, individuals at the right company. So we integrate eGrabber's data with the advanced search of LinkedIn to get the highest and best quality information available. And in fact, we don't really need LinkedIn when we have eGrabber. We just utilize it so we integrate the two seamlessly. So that's really, really valuable for you guys. And then from a practical use standpoint, when you find somebody in LinkedIn, you can just you can click on the button, research them, and you can then dump that into your Salesforce super quickly, and that saves you tons of data entry time. Just from a simple nature of clicking and saving, by itself is worth tons of time and money. So we use their program, and what we've done is, I think I can estimate that I save over, I'm going to say about $800 a month in data entry just from using eGrabber. It's pretty awesome.
Wow.
So, yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
So that's why we appreciate the tool and the program. So the other pieces of this puzzle were LinkedIn and email integration, right? So we used the emails from eGrabber for email, and then we have our LinkedIn engagement, because multiple touches always help, and ToutApp for our follow-up. And we can't do ToutApp without eGrabber, because we have to have an email address for it to work. Okay, so to create a long-term campaign, and one of those case studies I gave you in the Top 100 program, in order for us to do that effectively, we needed to build out a 12-month cycle of copy, which we wrote, and then we used ToutApp to deliver it, and eGrabber to verify and validate the data before we had it. So it's a great combination of tools, and I recommend you guys take a look at those. So that was the special offer that's on the screen right here. So let's get into the last piece. So lesson 4, and I think we're pushing time right now. I think we're right on the cusp. We'll be all right, 5 minutes. So here's what we have to do. Okay, if you want to create value, you're going to get a higher open rate and a higher conversion rate when you include your LinkedIn URL in your email, or you send a message from LinkedIn. Because why? They're going to see who you are. They can validate if you're worth their time, and then they're going to be able to say yes to you easier. We see at least a 7% better response rate from LinkedIn when we compare it to email, just in way of responses. And that's not in the way of engagements. Engagements is way better. Like, we don't get a whole lot of engagement from email. It's hard to get consistent conversion, whereas within LinkedIn, it's very consistent. You're going to get a 3 to 6% response rate and a 1 to 3% appointment rate with executives all day long. And much higher if you personalize it. You saw some of the stats that I shared with you in the case studies. All right, so number 1, optimize your LinkedIn profile. Don't cheat yourself on this, guys. Don't do it at all. Build your own databases. utilize LinkedIn and utilize eGrabber and build your database and make it awesome. Don't just rely on some of the garbage data out there that you might get from like a Hoover's or some of the other stuff out there. Make it integrated data. eGrabber allows you to integrate stuff that you would put somebody on and say, hey, I'm going to hire an assistant. I'm going to have them go research these 100 companies. I'm going to get all the data. It's like a click for these guys. I mean, it's one click, literally, and then it's done. So don't waste the time, trying to find the data. Just have it done for you with a click of a button and utilize the eGrabber tool. So build your database. And then number 3, create your own personalized engagement strategy. So how are you going to interact with these individuals? Now you have the data. We've optimized our profile so we can create that trust and credibility when we cross-reference it in our communications. Then how are you going to engage them? We're going to engage them through LinkedIn. There's several methods of engagement on LinkedIn. There's actually 5, right? And then what we're going to do is you're going to connect with them and engage with them. Are you going to send them a direct messages through emails? Are you going to send them an email directly? These are all direct response, right? They're all direct response philosophies. Are you going to do a private, personalized approach through the top 100 model or the whale hunting model that I mentioned? What is it that you're going to do? And then, so build that out for yourself. And then once you've done that, integrate the tool like ToutApp to create an automated follow-up system. So that's going to create that ongoing personalization, that personal touch that's going to keep you top of mind and get you in the door. All right, and that's it. That's going to be your strategic plan to get leads, to get a high ROI on LinkedIn, if that's your end objective. And then the last thing I'm going to leave you with is the time of day. If you're going to do the promotion that we talked about, the time of day is 9:15 to 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time is when you're going to hit click on that distribution to all the groups. And that's going to give you the highest and best level access to everybody through the daily digest. And then what it's going to do is going to give you the highest likelihood of being showing up on that daily digest email that shows up in their inbox that they can see. All right, about 75% of all group members by default get those, and because they don't know how to turn it off. So that's pretty awesome, and that'll get you the clicks that you're looking for. So you see my contact information on the screen. We have Clinton already shared that with you guys. Again, if you go to eGrabber and you pick up Account Researcher, it is promo code A is in Apple, R is in Robert, 300, and that will get you a discount if you want to pick it up for the year. I'd love to support eGrabber and our friends for sharing this webinar with their community and us with ours. Again, our information if you want to do any work or learn or get any target market analysis done to see if we have any opportunities to work together, you see email us at inquiry@linkstrategies.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Love to hear from you guys. And check out our website, see if there's anything we can do together. Okay, guys, this has been awesome. Clinton, thank you for hosting this for us and sharing this with your community and us being able to share with yours. I really appreciate the time, and thank you for sharing your great tool. It's an awesome tool, and I really hope everybody has a chance to experience it.
Sure, Nate. Thank you for sharing all your strategies with our community as well. There are a few questions. Would you like to take them, or do you have to run away to another call?
No, I'm good. Absolutely.
Oh, okay, great. So, hang on. Let me just go to the questions where you need to be answering. Yeah, there's a question on LinkedIn endorsements. Does LinkedIn endorsements work as a keyword optimizer to rank on results, search results?
So, say it again. So, keyword optimizer is that. Go ahead. Just say it one more time. Ask me the question again. So,
if we use LinkedIn endorsements, does it help to rank better on search results?
Got it. Yeah, I think well, let's look. Let's see what I don't remember if I saw any highlights on that. It should, because it's code. So if we look at Tom Kramer's, we scroll down. Digital is not highlighted here, but I would still say it is part of the analysis. These are the top skills. So it's not highlighted, so I can't say for sure, but I usually err on the side that anything that is clickable is definitely part of their, definitely being measured.
Got it. Nate, there's another question on the time that you mentioned when you should post the group. Is that 9:15 or 9:45, and what time zone again, please? People want to know about it.
Yep, it's between those times, anytime in between 9:15 and 9:45 Eastern time zone. So 6:15 to 6:45 Pacific.
And does it also work on weekends?
Daily Digest is daily. Yep.
Okay.
I wouldn't do weekends. It's literally the lowest engagement time. I would typically air on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays is when I do my distribution. So do like a Monday, Wednesday distribution if you're going to do it twice a week.
Okay, no problem. Then I'm sifting through the questions right now. Okay, I think that would be it. The rest of the questions were specific to eGrabber and specific to things that you've already answered. One question, would it work on LinkedIn profiles where I don't have the last name? Would eGrabber work on the LinkedIn profiles which don't have a last name? Well, that's yes, it does. So there are ways you can find the last name, and yes, that's been put into the eGrabber software. That makes things very easy, especially if you're in the third level connection with those people. Nate, this question from you from Erlene. Okay, I sell a certification to do business with the federal government. My potential clients are decision makers in advertising, web, and PR. What do you suggest on how best to reach them?
Optimize your profile. Build out a advanced target search of that market, utilizing job title and several other categories in the advanced people box. So I click up here on advanced, click on people. I get all these different features. Okay, so search them by titles and put probably out this guesstimate on their industries that they're selecting for themselves. And then once you have that database, then you use Account Researcher to grab the additional information on all of those different profiles and start building out your database. Once you have that database, then I would do a multi-tiered engagement strategy. I do a connection strategy, I do an in-mail strategy, and an email strategy. I touch them in several different points. I tier it out over a period of time and then just really work on the right kind of copy that's going to really engage them. So, and then I do a top of mind awareness campaign. So touch them X number of times per month through like a tout app or through your automated CRM system. The problem with a lot of the automated CRM systems is they have to have a double opt-in. So tout app acts more as like your Outlook provider. So it automates you sending an email from Outlook, for example. So you don't have to have an opt-in for that because you can send anybody an email anytime, one at a time. And so you put each of them in their own sequence. So that's something we can help you with. If you want to jump on a call, we can discuss if there's opportunities there together. Otherwise, that's what I'd recommend.
Okay. And the final question we'll take for today, could you please clarify what you actually got? Could you please clarify that you actually got 200 clicks from the promotion sharing?
Can I verify? Well, I mean, it was 2 years ago, but yeah, I got 20,000 clicks. I had 20,000 visits, rather, that month. The visits come in all sorts of ways. They come from LinkedIn, they come from email, they come from all sorts of things because remember, they're looking at it inside of their email account, so where it comes from, it could be an email provider, could say unknown, or could say LinkedIn. That was the only promotion I was doing at that time. Right now, I don't do content promotion strategies at this point. I'm sharing that strategy because I know that it works for traffic. I'm not focused. I get my leads from direct response. So in way of verifying, could I send you a screen share for it? No, I wouldn't be able to do that. But if I did it like tomorrow, then in about 30 days or whenever I get the data, I could show you that. And it would be several hundred clicks.
Okay, I think that's a wrap for today. Nate, thank you so much for your time again, and thank you everybody for joining in. We're 5 minutes overboard over here, but we'll be sending the recording in about a day's time. Thank you for spending your time with us. Nate, have a great day ahead.
Great. Thank you, Clinton. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a great day. God bless.